Okay, guys, welcome. We have different questions here for IELTS Speaking Part 1, taking breaks and the rest. Then we have noise and silence. We have names and identity. And the last question is waiting and passions. We are going to discuss all these questions. I'm going to ask the questions and give sample answers for each question to the best of my ability. So you sit back, listen, and take some notes. Obviously, mental notes. So without further ado, let's get started with the first topic, taking breaks or resting. The first question, how often do you take breaks? How often do you take breaks? Well, I'm a hardworking person, and for me, break means going to the gym, doing boxing, or working out at the backyard of my house. So I could say maybe I take break once after every 3 days for sports. While if taking break is sleeping, that's something that I do every day. But taking break as taking break being off work is something that I only do a few hours in some days of the week. Question number two, what do you usually do during your break? As I stated above, when I have a break, I usually prefer going outside to do boxing at the gym or probably working out at the backyard. And from time to time, especially the weekend, I go and play outdoor basketball half court with my friends, which I usually do for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the day. And sometimes I could do both. I could go to boxing for 1 hour and then later go on playing basketball for 1 hour. I usually love to do boxing for 2 hours and basketball for 2 hours, but after 2 hours of working out in the gym, especially carrying weight and doing boxing, it's almost impossible to keep up with the requirements or the demanding exercises such as basketball, especially when you are exhausted. Question number three, do you think breaks improve productivity? I wish I could have taken more breaks. I think breaks improve productivity, even if it's 1 hour or 2 hours in a day. When you have a lot of things that are repetitive, let's say the work that doesn't require you to use a lot of mental energy or too much creativity, I think break could have only small impact. But if you're doing something very creative, you obviously need break. So for those who are doing repetitive work, they probably need to increase the hours of doing it because there is nothing extra that requires too much attention. But for people who are doing a creative work, I think from time to time taking break is very, very good way of getting back to being productive as they're supposed to be. So that's the end of this part and this topic, taking breaks or resting. Now I'm going to move on talking about the second topic, which is noise and silence. Let me do some cleaning here. Wow. So in this topic here, what we have is the first question, which goes like, do you live in a noisy area? Do you live in a noisy area? Well, where I'm living is very noisy, especially during the day. We have a motorcycle repairer who is always having a lot of friends around and a lot of motorcycles. So when they're busy, it's the noisiest day. And sometimes at the weekend, when you wake up in the morning, you actually wake up to this kind of noise. Sometimes we have good days because even though the house is far away from the main road, still this person having a garage around here is a disturbance. So when he's not around or when his friends are not around, actually it's the most quiet place. So the only big problem we have is the motorcycle garage, which is just outside their house. I guess this is how things work down here. Question number two, what kind of noise do you hear every day? Besides motorcycle noises, I couldn't call it noise per se as an annoying kind of noise. I could say the sound of birds is what I hear every day. And this is what wakes me up sometimes. So you have two options. If the motorcycle guy isn't around with his friends, it's obviously I'm going to wake up to the sounds of the birds. So the biggest noise that we're still having is the same, the noise of the motorcycles. Besides that, we don't have a lot of cars coming on this way. It's a quiet, good place. But when I go to the city center or to the town center, sometimes I hear a lot of noise, obviously, because of a lot of cars moving around, motorcycles, and other vehicles that are moving at very high speed, especially the city to city buses, which usually pass here. And they make a lot of noise with the big horns, especially when they're entering the city and those kind of stuff. Do you prefer quiet or noisy places? Obviously, I think I'm not sure if this is about the age, but I've always liked quiet places. I've always run away from noisy places. Even my family has always been like that. We have always moved away from the cities, trying to stay as far as we can from the city, because quiet means peace of mind. You can focus better, you can think better, you can work better and more efficiently. Right now, we are in a quieter place, except for the person that I talked about, who is the motorcyclist. And if it wasn't for this person, it would be a very amazing place. And I'm looking forward to moving away from this place. Obviously, I don't like the noise that I'm hearing every day. It's unnecessary. And a person with this kind of mentality isn't a person that is easy to deal with. So obviously, the right thing would be him moving away, but it depends on the kind of community you are. If the people are tolerant to people's making noise in their neighborhood and they think this is normal, or maybe because their works and their daily routines doesn't require that kind of quietness, I think it would be difficult for you to fight this case alone. So in this case, you have to find a place that's quiet, and hopefully you don't have these kind of people who are not considerate enough. Well, that's the end of this part here. I'm going to move forward to talking about names and identity. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, just subscribe there, leave the comment and ask us what kind of topics you love us to discuss. If you have any recommendation, just let us know so that we could cooperate and make our channel grow every day. Don't forget to recommend it to your friends as well. So let's talk about names and identity. Do you like your name? Obviously, I love my name. I think this is the first thing that I know about myself. Before I owned anything else, I had people calling me this name. By the time I come to myself, I've always known myself. Every time somebody calls me, my heartbeat goes up, especially when I was younger, back at school. I'm excited to hear somebody calling me, and the curiosity rises, and I want to know, what are they going to tell me? What are they going to ask about? So this is the most beautiful thing about myself. I know some people might not like their names, but I think the best thing somebody could like about themselves is their names, especially if they have a beautiful name that they have made peace with. Question number 2, how are names chosen in your country? Well, in my country, we prefer to call people the names of their ancestors. If a mother has their favorite mom in their family, or father in their family, or an uncle, and they like them so much, so they usually prefer to name them after them. So if your uncle's name is Mustafa, or your uncle's name is Mr. Brown, so they love to name their child's name Brown or John or Peter, depending on the family names. And on the father side, the same thing. They usually love to name after the names of the beloved relatives. So we usually have a lot of similar names in the same family, and sometimes you could have brothers or sisters, especially in big families. If you have 5 or 10 siblings, and all of them have kids, and their kids usually have the similar names, because these names are coming from the family. So it goes on and goes, and at the end of the day, you could have 3 people, 4 people with the same name. Would you like to change your name? It's a long name. I think it's a little bit troublesome when it comes to writing it down, recalling it, telling people how to spell it, how to write it, and spelling it to other people. It takes a lot of time. It could be a little bit disturbing in the examination. You have to sit down and write it. I have a very, very long name and it's very long surname, and we usually use 3 names, and all of them are very long. So it's a little bit troublesome to write them down. Otherwise, I love my name. I wouldn't like to change it easily, except for those kind of facts that it could be a little bit demanding. Otherwise, I'm okay. And I would understand the people who wanted to change their names, because when you were born, you don't really have a chance to choose what you want to be called. It just happens because your parents chose the name. So I wish everyone had a chance to try to change their name at 18 years old, probably, so that they could have the names that they love themselves. And the last part of these part one questions is waiting and patience. The first question: do you think you are a patient person? Yeah, I think I'm a very patient person, and I would say I consider myself as a strategic person, a person who does something that's going to benefit me in a very long time, and especially things that don't give you benefit right away. These are things that requires a lot of patience. If you don't have patience, you cannot have this kind of lifestyle. For example, I love languages and I wanted to learn a lot of languages. By the time I have learned my seventh language, 15 years had passed. And in these 15 years, I could have been doing a lot of other things, but I had to sacrifice and wait. And now I'm trying to benefit from these languages, trying to teach other people these languages, trying to travel, which created some sort of freedom that a lot of people don't have because they don't have these languages probably, or they don't have the time that I'm having right now. So I say that these languages actually have helped me to be my main source of income, helping others to learn them, and also traveling the world, which is the greatest thing that you could do with your time, having experiences and meeting different people and trying to talk to them in their mother language. I know a lot of people speak English and they could easily communicate in English, but being able to speak the local language also help you to access a lot of things that normally you couldn't access with just speaking one language or just speaking English. So I think this is a big advantage that I have, and it was a lot of hard working for over years and a lot of sacrifices, focusing on only doing these kind of things or working on the languages. So it isn't something easy. So I think that is the ultimate measure of patience. In what situations do you feel impatient? Well, I usually feel impatient when I know I can do something, but I'm not doing it, or somebody is delaying. For example, I know that I could teach a language and I'm making program with some students, and some students might not be very disciplined. And when I'm waiting for them, I sometimes get a little bit frustrated. And I'm being patient, obviously, but at that moment, I feel very impatient. I wish they could care about the time. I wish they could be there right on time, because I'm always trying my best to be on time. Time management is a very big thing. And if somebody cannot manage time, they usually make me feel very impatient waiting for them. Do you often have to wait in your daily life? In my daily life, yes, I said not often, but only in few occasions. For example, if I have five different meetings with different people, and probably out of these five, one or none of these meetings would be the waiting case. So I love being on time. I love following the timetables, and my students know this. And with time, they also adapt to these requirements and they try to keep up with my requirements so that each one of us could benefit. Do you prefer to arrive early or exactly on time? I'm so obsessed with being on time, or at least before time. So I will usually arrive 15 minutes before time or exactly on time. But by exactly on time, it means by the time reaches, let's say we have a meeting and we're supposed to meet at 3 p.m., right? 3 p.m. I'm not arriving there at exactly 3 p.m., but at 3 p.m., I'm already sitting and probably waiting for you. So 15 minutes to 5 minutes before is usually my arrival time. I love to be on time, and I love to respect other people's schedules and time. Okay, guys, so as you have seen here, in here, we're not only answering questions, but when you're answering these questions, I'm trying to teach you a little bit about my life philosophy. I'm trying to motivate you about learning languages and improving yourself. One thing about improving yourself is that the price of not improving yourself catches up with time as you get older. But in the beginning, when you're focusing on improving yourself, it might feel like you're wasting your time while everyone else is living their lives. Everyone else is seeming to have fun. Probably that's the way of life and that's how they enjoy life. But in the long run, the people who prioritize improving themselves have longer benefits, especially when you hit 30 plus years old, a 40 plus years old. I remember my best years, in my 20s, were the years where everyone was having fun, was going out. Some of my friends were getting married and doing a lot of things. And I was always focusing on learning languages, improving myself, and getting better in becoming healthier and stuff. And right now, I'm reaping the benefits of that. I can easily do a lot of things which are almost impossible or a dream for a lot of people, especially when it comes to languages or writing books and those kind of stuff, because I spent my 20s preparing for this moment. So when the time comes, your life becomes much more easier, even though it's much more difficult in your 20s. And for some people, this is the beautiful age that they have to enjoy their lives, live their lives. But what's the point of enjoying for 10 years and regretting for the rest of your life? So when you're out there, just to enjoy a little bit. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and have fun, enjoy a little bit, but focus more on self-improvement, becoming a better person. And trust me, when you put self-improvement to your heart, if you love what you're doing, if you really want to improve yourself, you can feel this improvement every day. And this also is part of the happiness, because what is more important is not the destination, it's the journey itself. Every time I was learning a new language, I remember the first time I was learning Spanish, it felt so amazing. Keep on improving and getting to the level where I could actually teach other people and write some things, creative works in Spanish. It made me feel amazing. And so the whole process itself was some kind of having fun, having fun with your age, because you're young and you can learn. This is not something that you can always have. It's not a privilege that you're going to have for the rest of your life. So having the privilege of being able to learn at this age is also amazing. So it's part of enjoying your youth by obviously improving yourself and using your body and your brain to be better. So take care of yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing you more, and we're going to have more of these videos. And if you have any kind of videos or any kind of topic that you'd love us to discuss, just drop the comments below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming days. Take care of yourself and best of luck.